Good morning and welcome to the Greater Fort Wayne Business Weekly's free webinar, Grow Your Business and Master Mobile and Web Marketing and Advertising. My name is Lou Phelps. I'm CEO of the company, and I have the great pleasure this morning to introduce Sean Finch, a national expert on internet and mobile advertising, who I've worked with more than 20 years, and I've watched Sean help businesses grow their business through using internet and mobile advertising. Sean has more than 20 years experience, and what's important this morning and the reason we've offered this webinar is to understand that the trends and the reading habits of buyers and those going to news and your company websites is changing constantly. Sean will actually be here with us in Fort Wayne the week of October 12th, and we look forward to talking with some of you personally. So Sean, thank you so much for being with us this morning, and we look forward to you updating us on all the latest trends in internet and mobile advertising and how businesses can best use their advertising dollars on these platforms. Sean, take it away. And let me add, though, that throughout this session, as you think of a question you want to ask Sean, type it into the chat room, and we will make plenty of time for answering your questions as we go through after Sean walks through a PowerPoint with you. So Sean, take it away.
Thanks so much, Lou. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to and speak with all of your people today. As Lou mentioned, my name's Sean Finch. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Creative Circle Media Solutions. We're based out of Providence, Rhode Island. And I've been doing this since 2000 in the digital advertising arena, working in 49 states all over. Hawaii is the only one I haven't missed, but I'm not real keen on flying out to the West Coast, so I don't mind that flight. Worked with hundreds of media companies nationwide and actually have done thousands and thousands of presentations. So, newspaper websites continue to be some of the most trafficked websites across the country. And the reason for that is that they have what we call dynamic content. That content on those sites continually change. So it actually gives people, just like you, an opportunity to take advantage of all that traffic. And by utilizing different types of advertising that is very web-centric. So I really want to kind of touch on a few things today, talking about why it's so important to use your local newspapers and their websites and online. And the keys to successful online advertisements. That's going to be a really major thing. A few marketing tips, talk about some analytics, and why KPC Media. Now, a good online ad, it's very important that you're really getting the interest, and you're looking for that main goal is to command a click. That's the whole emphasis. You have that advertisement out there and you want someone to act on it. It's very important that you avoid, loud designs. You want to get a simple, clutter-free layout that really speaks to that end user and has eye-catching images that mean something, all right? And most importantly, you want to have a call to action. So frequently, advertisers and business owners, they'll put together an ad and it's just an ad, but there's no call to action. So it's very important that you put a call to action and drive people to that site. Mm-hmm. Now, in creating that, what is the main product or service being advertised? That's what you really have to emphasize. Are you trying to brand yourself? Are you trying to sell a specific product? So you really want to narrow that down as well. And as I said about, is this an offer? Are you trying to sell something? Is it a branding ad? An offer ad is, it's stimulating the purchase. You're having a call to action right here. Click here to check our inventory. Shop now for the latest gifts for Christmas. Or many people opt for just a branding campaign. So with that, you're building brand awareness. How many times do you see the Coca-Cola logo or State Farm? That's a brand awareness, okay? Now, it's very important when designing ads and looking at your ads of who you're really targeting. I mean, now, if you're a shopper, you know, that's a focused research. They know what they want. They're at the end of that sales and purchase cycle. I kind of like to look at it, say, for instance, if I've been looking for a car. So I want to put an ad out there, and maybe I've been looking at a new Kia Telluride. So if you're a car dealership, you want to sit there and have that ad have, hey, Kia Tellurides, lease now for $399 a month. If I'm an engager, these people are they're interested and they're thirsting for knowledge. They want to find out. They're heading into the market, but that might just be an ad where it's Joe's Cars. You know, it's just a it's not a specific. But there's one other thing that you have to really realize when it comes to online advertising, and that's the disgruntled customers. You know, there's a lot of people out there who may feel slighted by by a business, and they're in the mindset of making a change or a switch. For example, I've worked with many insurance companies, and an insurance agent, independent insurance agent, State Farm, Allstate, all these people, they'll tell you that once you have a customer, hopefully they have a customer for life until something happens, that claim doesn't go through, it wasn't handled correctly. And that's when it really gives you an opportunity to get a new customer and that go after those disgruntled customers. Is the messaging simple? Here's the hint, man. The simpler the message, the better. You want to use product shots. Show that new car with a big thing, you know, $399, lease now, animals, you know, people, an image of me as a State Farm agent, for example, gets a better response rate. So you want to take advantage of that, make it clear, concise, and to the point. You also have to look at what are you trying to accomplish with the ad when designing any ad. Is it a click through to the website? Many people do that. They want to drive traffic. Partnering with your local newspapers, for example, they have that built-in traffic, so you can drive more and more people to your website. Is it to call the store? Are you just putting a phone number on? That's not something that I really recommend, because ultimately we want to drive people to their website. So I kind of tell people to avoid putting a big phone number on there. You want them to click on it, have it land on a page where it has more information about your business. Okay, is it store drop-ins or foot traffics? You know, many times if you're having a festival or a carnival or a big event in the area, you want to get that message out to drive additional people to that event. So that's very important. Know what that message, know what you're trying to accomplish when you're building that ad as well. Now you should also show your logo on all the frames of an ad. If you're having a multi-frame ad, I really recommend that you go no more than 3 frames. You don't want to get that, you got to have that message clear and concise. Usually these are simple animated frames that go image 1 into image 2 into image 3. But on all of those images, you should have your logo of your business, so you're branding yourself and getting that name out in the marketplace over and over again. Now, this is always fun, you know, the use of the words free or special offer. Hey, they're very enticing to the consumers and really can get someone to react. But do not be misleading in your ads. Don't say free if it's not free. Don't, you know, because it's a surefire way to lose a customer for good. Maintain that credibility in your marketplace. If you have something free or a special offer, direct them to that page on your website that's going to discuss that as well. Use no more than 2 simple messages in an ad. You know, as I mentioned a little earlier, if you're running like a simple animated ad, you keep that message as simple as possible. After a few more of these slides, I'll take you to some examples around the country that have done an extraordinarily great job of getting that message, keeping it very simple, and driving people to their websites. And most importantly, keep your creative fresh. You never want to run the same creative for more than 4 weeks. It's something that I really, through my history and experience of this, I have worked with multiple companies and multiple businesses nationwide. I mean, literally thousands of them. I recall, a car dealership that I was at down in Missouri, and I had been there the previous year. I had all the analytics of everything this gentleman had run. All right. And when he started, he was looking at the impressions and the click-through rates, and he had like 50 click-throughs, in January. It then dropped considerably the next month. It dropped considerably the third month. And then fourth month, it shot back up again. And it did this through the course of the year. When I asked him about it, I said, "Are you having special seasonal sales or what's going on?" He's like, "No, that's when I change my ad." So he did this on a quarterly basis, but it lets you know that it's important to keep that creative fresh. You don't want to have a stale, or what I like to call like wallpaper that has never been changed. So very important. Also, you want to make sure that all your ads link to the page that corresponds to the offer in that ad. For example, if you're showing that you have a lease special for a new car, drive that to that special page that has that lease offer showing it. The last thing you want to do is just take them to a landing page or a home page that makes that end user or that customer have to hunt down for that corresponding ad. So really take time to find out where that destination URL should go and plan accordingly. And then make sure that if you want a customer to take an action on the ad, ask for the action that you want. So frequently, many people, they will not put a call to action. And I've seen that in the field over and over again. I was working with a newspaper company in North Carolina. And as I was about, Sunday night when I got in, I was looking at all the different ads, and I noticed that 4 of the advertisers had nearly double the click-through rates of every other advertiser, which was kind of odd to me. But upon more, I started looking at the different types of ads that they were using, and each and every one of them had this comment: click here for more information. Click here to look at our inventory. Click here to buy your new home. Believe it or not, people do like to be told what to do, especially in regards to advertising. So make sure that you do have a call to action. Very, very important. And then most importantly, work with your rep, to synchronize those branding efforts that you have regarding your print ads, your online ads. Everything should work in conjunction with each other. So your rep is a great expert to know and help you plan that branding or sales campaign that you're utilizing as well. Now, there is a few terms I'd like to discuss as well. One of those terms is impressions. When you're talking about online advertising, it's very important to know exactly what you're getting. So when you're doing any type of campaign, you're buying usually a block of impressions. And for example, for a newspaper website, impression basically is a number of times that someone actually sees your ad, either on your desktop or on mobile. So you have no idea how fast mobile is growing. In many areas, it's nearly 70% of the traffic is being utilized on mobile. So make sure that all those ads, as we talked about, synchronizing with your sales rep to plan accordingly for mobile as well. Impressions are a key metric for measuring success of the campaign. So it's something to always keep in mind. Now, in regards to impression, the one thing that everyone's most concerned about is click-throughs. And click-through is basically the number of times that people actually click on that ad and go to that website or that destination URL, so to speak. But remember, there's 2 things that work here. That impression is that branding campaign. That is getting that message out there, very, very important. Many times people only worry about that click-through rate, and I say, don't worry about that so much, because you never, a billboard on the side of the road, no one's clicking on that. But unfortunately, in regards to online advertising, everyone thinks that I must have multiple click-throughs. Granted, we want those click-throughs. We want to have, but there has to be a call to action, and there has to be a need, want, and a desire to click on that ad. For example, if I'm a hearing aid company and you're advertising over and over, you might be very surprised that you may not have as many click-throughs as like a restaurant or a car dealer, because you have a very specialized thing. But also look at the return on your investment for those campaigns as well. So keep that in mind. And then another term just to let you know about is CPM. A lot of times when buying any type of online advertising, you'll have someone say, we sell this in a CPM. And basically that means cost per thousand. And the cost per thousand is a dollar amount for every 1,000 impressions served. Once again, that impression is that branding mechanism. It's that visual that's out there on a continual basis. So keep that in mind when planning any advertising campaigns as well. Again, now I'd like to take you to, if there's any questions, Lou, I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I can also take some people here to some examples.
Great, Sean. We've got, let's go to some examples first, if you will. And then
Absolutely.
Great questions coming in. So let's go ahead and show our viewers today some of the different ads and what you're referring to, banners, tile. Take us to the, take us to these examples around the country.
Okay.
Show us strong ads.
Now, are you seeing the Timber Jay?
Yes, we are.
Okay, the Timber Jay is a wonderful little paper up in upstate Minnesota on Lake Vermilion up there. Now, if you notice in the right-hand corner, let's see here, my screen. Oops.
We can see the scroll down.
Sorry. You see this Janish Realty?
Mm-hmm.
This is called an expandable pencil ad. Now you'll notice when I was up here, I was actually up there 2 years ago in September. I actually called this publisher last year and asked him, I said, hey, listen, how's everything going? Was wondering if I had an opportunity to come up there again. And he's like, Sean, believe it or not, I have not lost a single customer, and they're going on 2 years now. This realtor right here will not give this position up. She actually says, hey, this is the best piece of real estate I can own in town, which is always a good thing to have. But even though this ad is a little busy, and I'll be the first to admit it, it's very eye-catching, the expandable pencil that runs across the top there. We have animated that. It's on a giant lake, Lake Vermilion, and they have float planes, so we can do those different types of things as well. Here is an example of a medium rectangle ad. And again, this is more of a branding mechanism. I mean, there's not really a call to action here at all. Not really a great ad, I would say, but more of a branding mechanism being used here. And then, hang on.
You take us to a website with some banners.
Yeah, hang on here.
Like the one at the top of that actually was a banner. There's the one with a banner. Mm-hmm.
Here's another one. This is a newspaper out in Wyoming, another expandable pencil ad. Here we have weather sponsors. Weather sponsors, very, very, very popular. Here's an example of a leaderboard. This is a leaderboard. And look, the call to action, gigabit, only $99 a month. The best offer on our fastest internet. Here's another example of a newspaper. Once again, those expandable pencil ads are just dynamite. People love them, has a lot of information on them. And look, if you notice this, we're branding this gentleman, Chad, here. I have you covered on personal experience. And right here, what is this? First State Insurance. Click here. He's telling you, he's directing you to that business. Another example of a leaderboard. Get your project started. Very simple, very concise, to the point. A very good job on this ad. Right here, Taylor's Dairy. Get a taste today. Click here. Again, don't be afraid to say click here. That is what you want to do. So those are some examples of some of the ads that have been very successful from newspapers all over the country. And as Lou had alluded to earlier, I'm going to be actually in your market the week of October 12th. Hopefully I get the opportunity to come and meet with some of you individually and discuss some of your advertising campaigns and what you would like to do as well.
We have another question, Sean. Someone's asking, if your ad is underperforming, you're not happy with it, do you suggest redoing the creative? Should you redo the creative once a month? Can you give us some ideas about that? Can you discuss updating your creative?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think it's very important. And it's a great question because many people ask that frequently all the time. They're like going, you know, and how do you judge the efficacy of an ad in the first part? You know, a lot of ads, you don't know how well they're doing. We're very blessed in the aspect that with online advertising, we do have those analytics in order for us to say, hey, we had 30, 40, 50,000 impressions, and we had this % of click-throughs to that. If that click-through percentage isn't exactly where you want it to be, you have to ask yourself those certain questions. What am I trying to achieve here? Is there a call to action? Is there a reason for someone to click on that? Meet with your salesperson, with your representative, and look at that campaign and say, maybe we need to really change this. Maybe we need to reevaluate it. Is the image fresh? Is it getting stale? And always keep it changing. As I said earlier before, the last thing you want to do is have an ad that becomes what we say is wallpaper that always just stays the same way. It's not going to be beneficial to anyone, and you'll not get the desired results.
Another question we have is, you referred to the term, you said using the term a frame. What do you mean by a frame? Is that like a medium tile, a banner, a pencil ad? Explain to us what you mean by a frame.
Well, here's a great example. Now, if you're seeing on my screen right now, see, this is what we call a medium rectangle ad. This is a 300 by 250. And see how it says take payments remotely from anywhere? It then scrolls in, charge customers, and then it goes take payments. So what it's doing is actually, it's a simple animation that takes from one screen to another screen and presenting multiple messages.
Okay, we have another question. Bonnie is asking, what's considered a good CTR? Or I think, Bonnie, you may mean CPM. What is considered a good CPM? In other words,
I believe, not to interrupt, I'm sorry, but she probably is talking about CTR, click-through rate.
Yes.
On a national average, you know, a click-through rate is usually about 0.03%, 0.03%. So again, if you're getting anything higher than a 0.03%, that would be pretty good. Typically, newspaper websites that I've worked with have done much better than that. I've seen them as high as, you know, a 1% click-through rate, which is extremely high. But people are becoming more and more savvy to it as well. So you have to ask yourself, if you're not getting the click-throughs, what's the message that you're trying to convey? And again, you know, don't get so caught up on just the click-throughs. It's important that you don't, because it's you have a lot of traffic and you have that it's that mechanism to really brand yourself in the marketplace. So just like a billboard, no one is clicking on that, but people continue to buy them, and they can be very, very, you know, beneficial and get a nice message out there. But just because we have the ability to click through and drive someone to that website, don't negate the value of that impression of being out there and that branding mechanism as well.
So what you're saying is that if someone, for example, is buying 20,000 impressions a month, a 0 a 0.03 click-through rate would mean 6 click-throughs. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
And that's
But
great, because it's so hard with all advertising. You know, the question is whether new people come into the bank, whether new people come into the hair salon, whether more people, new people call your insurance agency. That's really how you judge the effectiveness of all of the different marketing that you're doing.
you're absolutely correct. But keep in mind, even if that may be 6 people clicking onto that website with 20,000 impressions, that's like 6 virtual people walking through your door. Now the next point is that conversion. Are you making that person a client? Are you selling that person a car? What we're doing is, and we're very good at it over the years, we've done an exceptional job of doing the one thing that business owners want, is driving traffic to their website. Everyone has a website, it seems these days, but they don't know how to get more and more traffic to it.
Right.
Now, granted, you can partner and spend a lot of money in different ways to do that, or work with your local newspapers, etc., to have that built-in traffic, as I said earlier. And if you pardon the expression, you can kind of piggyback off of all their traffic, drive additional people to you.
Right. And talking traffic, when you're talking about traffic, you're talking about analytics, and it's, you know, reputable companies can give you documentation every month, give you a report to prove that you got your 20,000 page views, et cetera, that you really got your traffic. Another question that someone's asking about is designing ads. Most companies that will sell you a web or any kind of marketing campaign will design your ad for you at no additional charge. That's kind of a standard in the industry. And most companies, including KPC, of course, will allow you to change your copy every month. Just like changing a print ad, you can change your internet or your mobile ad. Sean, can you talk a little bit more about mobile and what's going on, about how people are reading news and seeing all your ads on their mobile phone? Can you talk a little bit about what's going on?
Absolutely. What we're doing is seeing just an explosion in regards to mobile. When you look at mobile, let me quickly kind of pull up a site for you to see. What we do, and is a little bit different, we really try to emphasize ads. I don't know if you can see this very well, but we have bigger ads. There's many different types of ads that are available via mobile. But we utilize, similar to what it looks like to have like a 300 by 250 ad on a website. They're very big, and then they scroll through the text as well. Everything would be hyperlinked, but it's just a great opportunity to really extend that reach electronically from beyond that desktop to where people are all the time. And guess what? People are utilizing that mobile. So often, I travel extensively around the country. I will, call home and talk about my wife and say, oh my gosh, I heard there was a terrible storm there. And she's like, how'd you hear that so quick? I'm like, mobile. I was gone to my own newspaper. I saw it, So people are utilizing it. And typically, Lou, what we're seeing around the country is most newspapers are over about 60% of traffic going to their websites is indeed mobile, and that continues to grow.
And that's because newspapers, when they post a story online, like the newspapers, that you were showing us, they're linking it to, it's running on, the viewer is reading it on mobile, and then
that's
it goes
exactly
to the website. And so when they click on the story on their mobile, it's also going to the website. So they're seeing your ad on mobile, and then they go to the website, they're seeing the ad on the website. So, there's a lot of action there. And it's
Absolutely.
growing. A phone is now like a computer in your hand. It's changed so much.
Very much so.
Yeah, even here in Northeast Indiana, the use of mobile phones and smartphones, not mobile, but what we would call a smartphone, growing rapidly every day. Well, Sean, this has been great. I think we're running out of time here, and we don't want to keep people who are busy today with a work day. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, KPC Media with the 13 newspapers in Northeast Indiana. We have 4 great websites. We do web and mobile advertising on our websites, our mobile platforms, our daily breaking news. We'd love to talk to you. You can call your local newspaper, call us. We'd love to sit down and talk with you. As we said, Sean will be here the week of October 12th. There is no cost to talk to Sean and have him come in and listen to what you're trying to achieve for your company. Thanks so much. This webinar will be on our website at fwbusiness.com for the Greater Fort Wayne Business Weekly. So you can share it with people, listen to it again, and share it with friends. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.